South Africans from various organizations are expected to protest outside Parliament ahead of the medium-term budget policy statement today. The groups are calling for the government to prioritize policies that enhance the well-being and prosperity of citizens. Last week, during the annual Inclusive Growth Forum, the Finance Minister, Enoch Godongwana, painted a bleak picture of the country's finances. Government has cut the budget from various departments by up to 15%. It instructed all state institutions to freeze vacancies and infrastructure rollout programs. All right, let's get an update now on the plans outside Parliament. Nasiphi watching that space for us. Nasiphi, good morning to you. So it's anticipated that there is going to be a number of marches leading to the Finance Minister, who is going to table that medium-term budget policy statement in the afternoon. Who are these groupings and what are the demands?
Well, Xoli, as you put it, a number of organizations, including the SACP, planning to not only picket, some demonstrating outside the gates of Parliament, and basically cry the excluded, in conjunction with a number of other civic organizations, are currently gathering just outside the gates of Parliament. And they are basically saying that they are demanding a re-evaluation of what they call austerity agenda ahead of the medium-term budget this afternoon. Basically what they are emphasizing is that there is a need for a shift in government policies. But to talk about those policies and what exactly it is that they want and their expectations of this medium-term budget, I'm joined by Zane Paul, the Western Cape Cry, the excluded chairperson. Sir, thank you so much for your time. But talk to us about these policies you speak of that you want government to shift.
Yes, these policies have been in place for almost 30 years now. First with GEAR, and then neoliberal policies which cuts funding to public institutions like your hospitals, your clinics, your schools, and also the issue of unemployment. These policies have exacerbated the unemployment crisis to unmanageable levels. And it's not where we want to change the policies. The government must also change. The government's economic policy must also change. And that is why we're gathering here today. And as the cry, we excluded from the economy, we excluded from government, we excluded from so many things. And government is not the government of the people.
I mean, Zane, looking at your statement that you released yesterday, there's a number of demands that you have, about 4, if I'm correct. This is obviously not the first time that you guys are demonstrating outside Parliament ahead of the medium-term budget. Talk to us about those demands that you have.
Yes, the first demand is the basic income grant. We want 1,500 rand for all South Africans every month. The second point is we must tax the rich so that we can fund the basic income grant. The third thing is about unemployment, and our youth needs employment. The fourth thing is about service delivery. And service delivery has been curtailed to such an extent that it's non-existent to our people. And those are our 4 demands. We've been speaking about these demands since 2019. Government has deafened the ears to the people of South Africa.
On that note, what do you make, you're saying that government has clearly deafened its ears to the cries of the people of South Africa. What do you make out of this?
Is that this government and this political system is not for the people. A better life for all was the mantra of the ANC for so many years. We don't have that better life. And for us, it's to get an alternative where we can service the needs of our people, bring our people's dignity back in their lives.
So obviously we have the medium-term budget today by Finance Minister Enoch Godongwana. What are your expectations, taking into account the budget cuts?
He's going to cut these budgets even further. But by cutting these budget cuts, he has to service the loans that they've made with all the world institutions. So South Africa is then being sold to all these world institutions, and we're not a sovereign state. And these budget cuts is going to hurt our people even further. And we are saying they must stop the budget cuts. They must realign the economic policies of this country.
Zane, what does that mean for an ordinary member for CRY of the excluded that is going to be sitting here demonstrating? What does it mean for somebody perhaps maybe in Khayelitsha or even in Bradastro?
The problem with this government policies for our people is our people are suffering, and the biggest problem now is the high levels of poverty, the high levels of hunger, and it is a crisis. And this government is not listening. They are not listening. They make so much money. They have so much money. They have so much wealth. The private sector has so much wealth, which can fund all the problems of South Africa, and they are in cahoots with the private sector.
Zane, talk to us about the organizations that are joining you guys here outside for the demonstration today.
So it is our comrades from the LGBTQIA+ community. It's going to be other civic organizations like the Back to Work campaign. It's going to be the unemployment of the youth, the Assembly of the Unemployed, and of course in the main focus it's going to be the CRY of the excluded.
We'll have to leave it there. Zane Paul, the Western Cape chairperson of CRY of the excluded, hoping that their demonstration outside Parliament transcends hours before the speech by the Finance Minister for the medium-term budget, that hopefully that their 4 demands that they've been calling on for every time ahead of the medium-term budget speech will indeed be listened to. We heard Zane describing what he says as a crisis, and he needs government to intervene immediately.
Nasiphi, thank you very much. A part of our team that is at Parliament today ahead of that speech by the Finance Minister.